we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on! Spadoni, shut up! Oh, good morning, all you lovely people. Bay Area, California, the United States of America. No, this is not going to be a debate show. Although you can call in and text me if you want to get into the concepts of plans or cats and dogs and stuff like that. But we'll try to keep it to sports this morning. And again, good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. Whatever you're doing, appreciate you choosing us right here at 95.7 The Game, the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. You got me for the next hour leading up to Bonte and Shasky. They got Brian Baldinger joining them today at 7:30. You're not going to want to miss that. Baldy's breakdowns after the Niners destroy the New York Jets by a final score of 32-19 on Monday Night Football. So a lot happened yesterday. A lot. And I think there's some panicking going on amongst some Niners fans in regards to one Christian McCaffrey. And on this show today, I'm going to tell everyone to relax. I'm going to go full Aaron Rodgers. And no, I'm not going to be on ayahuasca. No, I'm not going to be tearing my Achilles. I'm just simply going to state this.
RELAX. Relax.
The Niners are fine. And yes, if push came to shove, do I believe they need Christian McCaffrey to win a Super Bowl this year? No, I do not think they need him. Now, that'd be sacrilege to some of you. You might say, Spadoni, what the hell are you talking about? Well, all I know is Christian McCaffrey probably, not even probably, he had the best season of his career last year. Of his career. And it wasn't enough. Yeah, you got close. You got an overtime away. You got very close, but it wasn't enough. And it's unfortunate. And that first drive in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they were doing their thing. They were marching right down the field. They were getting chunk play after chunk play. And then he fumbled the ball. And that was tough. And I'm not turning this into, Christians are the reason. No. But what I am saying is, when you hear what Kyle Shanahan said yesterday to the media, and I'm going to play it, a lot of people just were shocked and be like, well, that can't be. Take a listen.
Well, yes, I believe they're similar. I know it was a calf then, and it's a calf now. You guys could ask Christian more on that. Definitely, I believe if it was a playoff game, he would have played. But when it's not just the calf, it's the Achilles, and the Achilles is tendonitis, and that stuff comes and goes. And when it is acting up, it's something you got to be very careful about. Christian's very diligent about that stuff, and if it was a playoff game, he made it very clear to me he believed he could go. But when you hear that type of stuff and it's not a playoff game and it's week one, and especially when you're dealing with the lower extremities like that, it was a tough decision, but hearing all the words and stuff, in the long run, it made it easy.
That was the 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan yesterday on his weekly media conference call. Achilles tendonitis for Christian McCaffrey. And that was the big kind of story of the day. You got a couple of turf fields coming up. Could you keep McCaffrey out the next 2 weeks at least? You're going to Minnesota, turf. Going to SoFi after that, turf. We know about turf. Not a lot of give. A lot of injuries. And thank God the World Cup is coming up in a couple of years, and most of, if not all, these fields with turf that are going to be hosting World Cup games are going to be converting to grass. I wish it was now. I don't know why it took international soccer players coming over here for a couple of months to change it, but at least it's getting changed. But for now, we got to deal with McCaffrey playing on turf and keeping away from that. I said it 2 days ago when the Achilles thing first popped up, when they started listing calf and Achilles on the injury report. I said, don't play him. Haven't we learned our lesson from Dre Greenlaw? Haven't we learned our lesson from Kevin Durant? Don't play him. And yeah, what did JP Mason do instead? Just rush for $147. So, although it's scary, you have depth. You still have Brock Purdy. You have Kyle Shanahan. And this isn't a new thing for the 49ers. Prior to Christian McCaffrey, and I'm not saying he's out for the whole year, but if he were to miss a significant amount of time nursing this injury, it's not the end of the world. Not only do you have all pro still everywhere else, I mean, are we just forgetting just how stacked this offense is in San Francisco? Are we forgetting that they have George Kittle, best tight end in football outside of Travis Kelce, best left tackle in football, Trent Williams, two of the best wide receivers in football, and a wide back to boot, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? I mean, Brock Purdy looks like Brock Purdy, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And now you got this rookie, Dominic Pooney, who Brian Baldinger, again, at 7:30, courtesy of the River Islands guest line, is going to talk about, I'm sure, offensive linemen love talking about other offensive linemen. But now you got a stud right guard. I'm not worried about the 49ers offense without Christian McCaffrey. I'm not. Do you disagree? Do you agree? 888-957-9570. I want to hear from the Niners fans that are worried about this. Tell me why you're worried. Tell me why you're worried. See, this is the big difference always between positions and sports. A lot of people say Christian McCaffrey's the 49ers' best player. And talent-wise and production-wise, that might be true. But he's not their most important player. And I don't want to get it twisted. Again, I want to be careful here because I do not want to sound like I am poo-pooing Christian McCaffrey and what he means to this team. If you have Christian McCaffrey out there, you're a juggernaut. You scored 32 a couple days ago without him on what we think is going to be one of the top defenses in the NFL, in the New York Jets. See, I'm not doing the week one overreaction. I think the Jets stink or anything like that. No, I think the Jets are going to actually be pretty good this year. I think Aaron Rodgers has a lot of stinkers in week one in his career. And would I be shocked if the Jets won 10, 11, 12 games? No, I would not be. It's just how good the 49ers are right now and how fresh they look, even coming off of all the drama they had. So I don't want it to make it sound like, Christian McCaffrey, you don't need him. You don't need him at all. I would love to have Christian McCaffrey, but he's not the most important player on the team. That's Brock Purdy. And I have so much faith in Brock Purdy, in his command, in his poise, with his wide receivers, with his tight end, with his running back JP Mason, Juwan Jennings. He is in complete control of this offense. He is in complete synchronicity with his head coach and Kyle Shanahan. If this was Jimmy Garoppolo, still the quarterback, and you had Christian McCaffrey out, yes, I would be concerned. You don't got Jimmy. You don't got Nick Mullins. It's not CJ Beathard. It's not Brian Hoyer. It's not Trey Lance. It's Brock Purdy. He's on another level. So I need fans and 49ers fans specifically to start thinking like they got a franchise quarterback finally. Because when you have a franchise quarterback, when you're missing your top running back, you still expect your quarterback to produce at a high level and you still expect to win games. If Patrick Mahomes is missing Isaiah Pacheco, are you just going to, Chiefs can't win this game. I mean, it's over. Now, and I'm not saying Isaiah Pacheco is a like for Christian McCaffrey. I get it. McCaffrey was Offensive Player of the Year. So do you want to say, if Josh Allen, who's his top? Keon Coleman, is that his top guy now? Mac Hollins? If he's missing him, are you just dismissing the Bills completely? If Lamar Jackson's missing Zay Flowers or a Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews was his best target for the last couple of years, Mark Andrews was out for most of last year. Are you going to just, I'm not starting him this week in fantasy. I don't feel confident. Get what I'm saying here? I think Brock Purdy has earned the benefit of the doubt in not having his top running back and has earned that trust. Let's just look at the schedule coming up here. 49ers schedule. You got the Vikings in Minnesota. You got the Rams in LA. Then you're back home. You're facing the Patriots. And again, week one overreactions. I don't think the Patriots are going to be very good this year. Should handle that team. Now, the Vikings and Rams is going to be a tough 2-game road trip. But you should handle your business against both of them. I think the Niners right now are 6-point road favorites out in Minnesota. Oh, yeah, you betcha. And then you got the Cardinals on October 6th at home before heading on the road to Seattle and then coming back home October 20th against the Chiefs. Keep him out as long as you need. Like, this is not a schedule early on in which you need Christian McCaffrey. Not against the Vikings, not against the Rams, not against the Patriots, not against the Cardinals, not against the Seahawks. Against the Chiefs, that'd be great. And if we're talking about October 20th, that's more than a month away. That should be enough time, you would think. But the thing with Achilles tendonitis and tendonitis in general, it's an injury due to overuse and overusage that causes pain and swelling. So whether it's a knee tendonitis, an ankle tendonitis, Achilles tendonitis, it's because there's an overuse factor going on there. Becomes inflamed, becomes irritated. As I'm doing makeshift doctor here, shout out Dr. Nirav Pandya, cleared to play, UCSF Medical. Love you, Doc. And when we randomly bump into each other in the East Bay, happened a couple times. But I just, for the life of me, I don't know why you would rush him back. Why would you rush Christian McCaffrey? It just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Good morning. 888-957-9570. Talking Christian McCaffrey. Achilles tendonitis is the latest from the Shanahan media conference call yesterday. Are you concerned about this injury, 49ers fans? Or are you like me? You're not sweating it. Keep him out as long as you need to because you got your quarterback and you got everyone else. And JP Mason is not Christian McCaffrey, but I still think he's pretty damn good. Here's more from Shanahan's conference call yesterday on what he thought of his quarterback's decision-making.
Just didn't make any mistakes and made a number of plays with the ball. When they did have some pressure and stuff, he was able to get rid of it. When guys weren't real open, he still made some really good tight throws. Really only had one ball that he was aggressive on that got close to the defense where I thought they had a chance to pick it. Ultimately, it probably wasn't a great decision, but I could totally see why he did it. And I love that he didn't hesitate and kind of let it rip. And that's kind of how he played the whole game, and only one got close to him. So he played aggressive enough. He played aggressive and played very controlled with a chance for us to win and not make mistakes. The way that game went, and you get into the second half, and truly felt the only way they could get back into it is if we had a bad turnover. And Brock was very trusting with the football while still making plays.
Ooh, that was very dramatic at the end. A little slight pause from Kyle Shanahan. And good morning to all of you on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We are streaming right now on all those platforms. Be sure to search 95.7 The Game, like, and subscribe there. You can give me a follow at Spadoni_Joe on Twitter. And let's go out to Jonathan in San Leandro. He wants to join in the conversation, 888-957-9570. Are we concerned about Christian McCaffrey's Achilles tendonitis, or is everything going to be all right? What's going on, Jonathan? You're on the pregame show.
Good morning, Spadoni. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's a hump day. Let's go.
There you go. Let's go. I love the positivity, and I love where your mindset's at, brother, because I was thinking the same thing. Don't panic. I'm going to do a hot take, and it's not even so hot, but let's say Brandon's going to have his game. This is going to be Brandon's breakout game. Debo's going to be running the routes. We're going to be just fine. We're going to not forget that Christian was out, but like you said, we're going to be able to breathe a little more and say, you know what, Spadoni was absolutely right. Let him rest. We got this. We were overdoing it. So let's get our bearings back together. We got weapons. That's what we got, San Francisco. We got weapons.
Absolutely. That's Jonathan. That's Jonathan in San Leandro. Appreciate you, Jonathan. 888-957-9570. And yes, I hope Io goes off selfishly because I have him in fantasy. But he's exactly right. This is a team built on depth. Like, that's why it was so important that you retained Brandon Ayuk and you retained Trent Williams and you have Debo and you have George Kittle and you re-signed Juwan Jennings and you restructured Christian McCaffrey. Like, you are easily the most deep team, the deepest, I should say, in the NFL and definitely in the NFC. And you are built to withstand injuries like this. The only injury you're not built to withstand is the quarterback one. And I don't think anyone really is. If you have a good backup, that's fine. You can tread water for a little bit, win a game here or there, but that's really the only one. And as much as I love running backs and I want to see them valued more and more, and I'm glad they're getting somewhat paid now, just look at Kyle Shanahan's yearly rushing leaders. Let's go back to, when did Shanahan start? 2017? 2018? Did he have Carlos Hyde? God, it feels like forever ago. Let's just go 2017. Carlos Hyde, 2018. Matt Breida, 2019. Raheem Mostert, 2020. Jeff Wilson, 2021. Elijah Mitchell. And the last 2 years, Christian McCaffrey. And right now, it's Jordan Mason. Those are the leading rushers year after year after year. So, Shanahan finds a way to get it done. His dad did it. He does it. They'll find a way. They love themselves some undrafted or late round running backs that just know the scheme. And yes, when and if Christian McCaffrey comes back, that should scare the rest of the league. But I'm here to tell you that the 49ers, even without Christian McCaffrey, should scare the rest of the league. And by the way, this guy, Dominic Booney, Mason's just going to keep having daylight after daylight if this rookie just improves. I mean, what a start for him going up against the likes of Quinnen Williams, who again is an all-pro defensive tackle who is lining up over on that right side of the offensive line. McKivitz took some lumps early on, but you know what? He recovered. Here's the head coach's thoughts on the rookie start.
I thought it was a real good first game for him. By no means was it perfect, but it's how he's been every day since he's been here so far. So, you know, I've talked about him a bunch here, and he's been this way in practice. He's been this way in preseason, and it looked the same in week one. So it seems pretty consistent, pretty real about the guy. And that was his first game. He's got to recover here in 6 days, and we'll be playing on the road next week where it'll be much louder and stuff. So there'll be some new challenges, but hopefully he just continues to play the way he is. And if you keep doing that, he'll also get better with more experience.
Head coach being modest, of course. You got to keep your guys honest, but he was impressive. For a rookie to go in there and for that offensive line to dominate the running game like they did, it was impressive. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating this because I think a lot of the talk yesterday, and I heard a lot of scared energy, and maybe that, and some callers even said, he's like, maybe I'm just still scarred and I'm being too hard on this team from the Super Bowl loss, and I'm just going to keep being harder on this team. That's fine. The 49ers and Kyle Shanahan have set excellent standards, very high standards. So regular season wins, the 49ers have gotten to the point where their fan base can critique them. You've gotten to that point. Now, the NFL is hard to win. It's not like basketball. It's not like the KD years where there was a foregone conclusion you were going to be in the finals and you're just nitpicking win after win after win. Oh, I don't know. Clay looks like this. I don't know. Steph looks like that. Like the 49ers have gotten to that point now with Kyle Shanahan where the fans are even like, yeah, we kind of dominated, but 6 field goals, that's not going to cut it. I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been slashed a couple of those field goals for touchdowns. You're in the 40s. And they're saying it was 45 or 46-19. I don't know what my math is doing right now, but you get what I'm saying. So yes, the Niners fans are a little spoiled right now when it comes to getting those yearly week 1 wins and victories. Smashed Pittsburgh last year, and you smashed the Jets this year. But every season has ups and downs. There's going to be some point of adversity here. And if it's right now, if this is the adversity with no Christian McCaffrey, it's a perfect timing, I feel like. Mason looked good. You got some of the rust, hopefully, off Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams. I didn't really see a lot of rust. Maybe just conditioning-wise, but even then, get an IV, you're good, big boy. And then again, the soft part of the schedule is right now. Vikings, and I was kind of gassing them up, tongue-in-cheek yesterday. Deshasky, because he's not a Sam Darnold believer, and I think a lot of people are. He looked good last week, albeit the Giants stink. So take that. Again, week 1 overreactions. And if you have any right now, I'd love to hear the week 1 overreactions at 888-957-9570. Or things that you don't think are an overreaction. Like I said before the season, I don't think the Buffalo Bills are a playoff team this year, and I'm actually sticking by that. I think that loss was more on the Arizona Cardinals more so than a win for the Buffalo Bills. Now, it takes 2 to tango. I get it. But I'm not a believer in that Buffalo Bills team. Not quite. In the MVP conversation with Josh Allen, let's calm down a little bit. Let's calm down. It's impressive, but God, that guy just... The fumbles at the worst time sometimes. It's just... it's maddening to me. The turnovers, it drives me nuts. That's why I cannot get my feet fully onto that Josh Allen bandwagon, because I know he'll wow you with the legs when the size and the explosiveness and the arm. I get it. He's Cam Newton-esque. Cam won an MVP. He took a team to the Super Bowl. But turnovers for Josh Allen, he's got to clean them up. And that's why I'll never fully be into that bandwagon until he does that. I mean, that was a Brett Favre thing forever. Brett Favre, he ended up winning the Super Bowl. So maybe Josh Allen does. 888-957-9570 from the Xfinity mobile text line, from the 415. I am worried about Christian McCaffrey's Achilles. Saw this with Dre Greenlaw in the Super Bowl. It's a ticking time bomb. Even when he comes back, I'm still going to be worried about it. And that's the thing. Listen, tendonitis is just, you're overusing a certain part of your body. And the Achilles tendon, the largest tendon in the body, for a running back, yeah. For really anyone playing in the NFL, but specifically for a running back, or how Dre Greenlaw, like linebackers who are built on speed, size, and power, it's a devastating injury. You don't have to tell us. We saw it with Klay Thompson. We saw it with Kevin Durant. We've seen it, again, Dre Greenlaw. You've seen it all around the NFL. Hell, Aaron Rodgers just came back. And I get it, he's older, but the mobility just wasn't there at all. You couldn't move. The arm's still the arm, but you got to be careful with these if you're the 49ers. Because not only did he restructure his contract, and by the way, as I put a pin in that, they had to have known this is tendonitis now for a little while, right? Like they had to have known. And Christian was saying a couple weeks ago during the preseason, when he was still being held out and stuff like that, that if it was a regular season game, he could go. And now I hear Kyle Shanahan pushing the goalpost back, saying if it was a postseason game, he could go. I don't know. Until the Achilles name is taken off the injury report, I'm keeping this guy out. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't risk it. It's just what I'm trying to say here. Don't risk it. Come on. We learned nothing. Kyle Shanahan. Let's get to the other side of the ball here, because I do think we're kind of sleeping on just how good that defensive line was for the 49ers against the New York Jets. Bosa, Floyd, that tandem, Kyle Shanahan. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, they did a great job. We kept them into some good third downs, and I thought both of those fed off each other very well. They played, their conditioning was very good. They were able to go on the first play or the last play the same way they did on the first play. I love how those two pair up, and expect them to get better and better as the year goes.
What about new acquisition Malik Collins?
I was really happy with the D-line overall. Malik, I thought, showed up a ton. I was really pumped with him. He flashed a ton, got off blocks, played with a ton of energy, made a number of plays, and it was a hell of a first game for him as a Niner.
And here's Nick Bosa after the game talking about the additions of Floyd and Collins.
Floyd is just a ball of energy, and he could run, and people think he's a smaller, skinnier guy that can't play the run, but he's explosive as heck, so he could really play the run like we need him to, and obviously he could rush. His speed rush is he's proved it throughout his career. And then Malik, just a beast in the run game, big guy, and if he could do that all year, then we're going to be in good shape.
They're going to be in great shape. Understatement of the year, Nick Bosa. 888-957-9570. We're going to take a quick break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. How concerned are you 49ers fans about the latest diagnosis from Christian McCaffrey? Achilles tendonitis. Seems like a long shot this Sunday, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. I doubt he plays. I doubt he plays the week after. Just keep him out. Don't put him on turf. I want to bring him back on the grass, fine, but I wouldn't even bring him back until that Achilles. I am sure, like a month out of the season, sure. I don't need him till the Chiefs. That's October 20th. Is that too overzealous, Niners fans? Would you keep Christian McCaffrey out for a month if you needed to? 888-957-9570 is the number. We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, I want your week one overreactions here as well, as we're taking a greater look around the NFL and what happened. And we got to get into easily the worst contract in sports right now. It's not even close. And the team that has said contract may, just maybe, getting out of it. I'll explain that as the show goes on. It's a pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Joe Spadoni hanging out with you for the next 30 minutes. One segment down, 2 more to go before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. Brian Baldinger, by the way, 8 o'clock. He was hanging out at Jets practice, I guess. There you go. What's the Thursday night football matchup this week? That's the question. Oh, we got Dolphins-Bills tomorrow? Very juicy. Now, the broadcast itself is whatever, but that game, I will be locked in. I'm sure you'll be locked in. Will Deshaun Watson be locked in? And I shift there because I just teased it. And we'll get back to the Christian McCaffrey injury. We'll get back to the Niners here in a second. 888-957-9570 is the number. I bring up Deshaun Watson because we've all seen it, right? This guy stinks. He's not good. Like, he's just not. Well, I don't know the mentals, the physical. He's just not a good quarterback. He's not a good football player. He stinks. And he signed what I'm calling right now the worst contract in the history of the NFL, and what has been one of the worst trades in the NFL. I mean, you look at the Houston Texans who made that trade. All they've done is skyrocket. Browns, now they made the playoffs last year, not because of Deshaun, because of Kevin Stefanski and Joe Flacco and that defense. And Nick Chubb for the last few years has been a baller, but he's obviously out, rehabbing, trying to get back from the horrific injury he had. But Deshaun Watson, as I pull up his contract details right now, currently signed on a 5-year, $230 million contract, which all of it is guaranteed, by the way. All $230 million guaranteed. As I go Charles Barkley, guaranteed. $230 million. And he still has multiple years left on it. And the dead cap keeps increasing. Now, they pushed the money down the road. They restructured it this year, so the cap hit was only $27 million. But check this out. The next 2 years, it's Russell Wilson-esque with the Denver Broncos. But at least the Broncos know they're going to be bad, so they're just eating it. They drafted a rookie. They'll take their lumps. But if the Browns are to get out of this thing, and for those of you who don't know, there's another allegation in regards to Deshaun Watson that has just resurfaced. And I don't want to say of course, because that's just, bad taste to say something like that, but another sexual assault allegation. And people are already saying, oh, it's a money grab, all that sort of stuff. All I know is, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I am begging Roger Goodell to put Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list. Now, all reports are saying, from Pelissero to others, it's not going to happen. But if I'm the Browns, I'm hoping it does. Find any way you can get out of this contract. And if this latest allegation can do that, God, you're hoping so. Oh, $72 million dead cap hit next year, $72 million cap hit the year after that. And then everything could be void. Oh, actually, no. I was looking at the wrong one. That was just the cap hit. Oh, excuse me. The dead cap would be $172 million next year. And the year after that would be $99 million. Oh my God. Oh my God. And yes, I am laughing at the Cleveland Browns for giving $230 million guaranteed to that clown. That scumbag. Yes, I am laughing. $230 million guaranteed. Guaranteed to do what? Suck ass? That's what he's been doing. Jesus. That is not an overreaction, by the way, of week one. The Browns and Deshaun Watson They're cooked. Cowboys looked good. They did. But some of that was the Cleveland Browns' ineptitude. So again, the dead cap for next year, if they got out of it, $172 million. Year after that in 2026, $99. Good luck. Good luck. That's why you better hope that he gets put on the commissioner's exempt list. Get that guy out of here. All right. Pivot back to the Niners. 888-957-9570. I just had to talk about that. It's just, for as much as we harp on the the Trey Lance draft pick and trade and how bad that was, and you didn't really receive anything. It was all-time bad. But you got Brock Purdy out of it. So it's fine. No harm, no foul. Not even going to focus, not even going to worry about it. We're just not. But the Browns, giving up what they gave up to get Deshaun Watson, giving him all that money, Jimmy Haslam, the owner, doing all of that. Just all-time Cleveland move. It's all-time. Listen, I know all about all-time bad moves and contracts. I'm a Raiders fan. This absolutely takes the cake, and it's not even close. Albert Hainsworth with the Washington Commanders, then Redskins. Nothing could even sniff this Deshaun Watson thing. Not even Albert Hainsworth. It's all-time bad. All-time. Yeah, thank you. 510. That was 11 minutes ago before I even got to it. Worst contract in all of sports. He should be arrested for robbery. He should be arrested for a lot of things. But absolutely swindling, and whoever his agent was, to be honest, getting some of that deal. $230 million guaranteed. Whoever his agent was, just chef's kiss. Congratulations to you. After having like 50 million allegations, he is still somehow able to get paid that much money from a team and from an NFL team. Like, I don't know how they did it in hindsight. I don't know how the Browns could have been that short-sighted. Good luck. And in that division too, like, the Steelers are in first place there, and I could see the Steelers still competing in that division solely because of the head coach, Mike Tomlin, and the defense. Like, I have so much respect for him. I know they haven't won a playoff game in forever, and in Pittsburgh, you got to win playoff games. Like, it's kind of like the Niners. Like, they have a tradition there. You got to win in the playoffs. So, yes, Tomlin still needs to get that, and them doubling down on Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, thinking that's going to end well, probably not the greatest move. But I have a lot more faith in that tandem than I do Deshaun Watson. Hell, I'd pivot to Jameis Winston right now if I'm Kevin Stefanski. What are we doing? What are we doing? I know Jameis. I know what he does and doesn't do well. But I'd still take him and his unpredictable nature over the known of Deshaun Watson, who is a absolute shell of himself right now. All right. We can pick this up on the other side if you'd like. If you want to continue it, I just need to get that off my chest. 888-957-9570. We'll get back into the Niners, some more week one overreactions, take a look around the league. And we'll start previewing some of the more matchups tomorrow. Obviously, Thursday Night Football, Dolphins, Bills, AFC East showdown. Can't wait for that one. We'll get into that. Plus more of your calls, more of your text as the pregame show rolls on. One more segment on 95.7 The Game.
It's the pregame show with Spadoni, my homies, yeah.
Oh, we're rolling, baby. God, I love football. So happy for football. No idea. Giants took an L last night, by the way. Brew Crew coming in. 3-2 the final. No one's going to talk about that, though. I'd rather talk about week one overreactions. 888-957-9570. If you got any, I want to hear them. Now that we're kind of in that middle section, right? You're not quite looking to the next opponent, the Vikings. They're there. We'll get into them more tomorrow. Sam Darnold, revenge game, all that. Obviously, that was the loss last year on Monday Night Football, in which Kirk Cousins just absolutely diced up the Niners defense. Cover zero blitz, Jordan Addison touchdown right before the half. And that was probably the beginning of the end of Steve Wilkes as defensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers. So there's a lot of history there. Just going back to last season, which again, also in Minnesota. So they'll be there this Sunday. But just taking a look around the NFL in week one. And yeah, clearly the quarterback play was just not up to the standards we're usually accustomed to seeing. You know, I was just looking around, just some of the box scores, like Mahomes, the first game, even Mahomes is 291 yards, touchdown, a pick. But he's Mahomes. He can do that in his sleep. By the way, sneakily, after that like amazing season he had, where he had like 50 plus touchdowns a few years back, and he was just, if you had Mahomes, you won your league. His fantasy seasons, like, not amazing. Like, it used to just be, I got Patrick Mahomes. I'm good every single week. Oh, I'm chilling. Oh, I know I'm going to get 20 plus points. It's not the foregone conclusion anymore. Lamar Jackson, fantasy, he's doing great. Just great. And he's going to do, hey, by the way, yeah, start any Raven you have this week. I think they're 10-point favorites now at home against the Raiders. Start them all. Derrick Henry, Lamar, Justice Hill, everyone. Start them all. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, everyone's going to eat. I've never been more down on a team right now than I am on the Las Vegas Raiders. Might be biased. Probably am. But just a gutsy, just not even gutless. It was a Getsy performance. Their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who flamed out over in Chicago, but you know what? He did so well over there. Let's bring him over here. What a joke. Absolute joke. What I'm not going to overreact to, though, is my preseason Super Bowl prediction. I'm not going to pivot off that after 1 week. I'm actually feeling great about some of my picks. I feel fantastic. Last Friday, I did kind of my preseason. I did all my awards. I did everything. Let's just take a look at that real quick. After 1 week, my Super Bowl matchup was Chiefs-Eagles. Okay. A lot of you think probably Chiefs-Niners, a rematch, which could still be a possibility, but I feel great about the Chiefs, and I feel pretty good about the Eagles and their offense. Now, the defense wasn't great. I think Vic Fangio can figure that out, though. I have faith in him. And I was mostly worried about the offense for Philadelphia heading into this year, but Kellen Moore looks like he found something. Jalen Hurts needs to be a little more decisive. Had a couple bad picks. The one he had across his body into the end zone might have been one of the worst picks I've ever seen him throw in Brazil on Friday. As Joe Shasky's getting locked in with Sam Blown behind the scenes there. I always like when Joe comes in because he always has like a notepad, a notebook, and he's just writing down certain things. It's because it's ABC, always be contenting, I think he likes to say. And that's what he's doing behind the scenes right now. Joe Shasky, Ponte Hill, another 9 minutes. Brian Baldinger joining them. 8 o'clock, not 7:30. 8 o'clock, Baldy's breakdowns with the roast, Shark Week, all of that. 8 o'clock, Baldy, not 7:30 like it usually is. Usually on a Tuesday as well. So this week we're all kind of bundled up, push stuff back because it was Monday Night Football. And you know what? The Niners won, and we're going to celebrate it with Baldy at 8 o'clock. But I feel great about my Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl pick. I feel great about my Sam Darnold comeback player of the year pick after 1 week. It was 1 week. Now, he might get destroyed this week against the Niners, but you know what? That happens. Aaron Rodgers just got destroyed too. The current Jets quarterback. So the former Jets quarterback, that might happen too. But there is something about that head coach over in Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell. I don't think he gets enough appreciation for just how good he is with his quarterbacks. Obviously came from the Rams, came from the McVay tree, which came from the Shanahan tree, all of that. But he has this connection with his quarterbacks that I think is very underrated. You saw it with Kirk Cousins. Hell, you saw it with Josh Dobbs last year when he was taking the league by storm. And he came in from the Arizona Cardinals after Kirk tore his Achilles and just didn't skip a beat. It was pretty incredible. That's a credit to the head coach. Now, eventually, he kind of turned back into a pumpkin. Now he's a backup with the 49ers. Nick Mullins had to come in. It just, talent-wise, you just couldn't hang. Justin Jefferson was dealing with injuries, all of that. But you got Jefferson, and we'll see with Jordan Addison, by the way, who was a baller against the Niners last year. Jordan Addison was dealing with an ankle injury. Pretty significant, they're calling it. Week 2 status is in doubt. So, we'll see. We'll see. But it's not looking like they'll have Jordan Addison, who, again, ankle injury last week in a win over the New York Giants. But Justin Jefferson's still a problem. No TJ Hawkinson, though. He is on the PUP list, I believe, or the IR, whichever one it is. He's on one of them where he's going to be out the first 4 weeks. And he's coming back from injury as well. So, as long as you can slow down, and it's easier said than done, Justin Jefferson, should be okay. But again, easier said than done. And they got Aaron Jones, who had a hell of a week last week on the ground. They held Breece Hall down, and everyone was talking like Breece Hall was going to be the best running back in football this year. So, handle Aaron Jones, force Sam Darnold in the pocket, keep him in that pocket. Good things will happen. I'm confident in that. Some other news and notes from week 1 that I wanted to dissect. And from the Philly Dave, Fly Eagles Fly, 650. Hey, Philly Dave came in, and I just named him Philly Dave. I want to say his name's Jordan, his real name, but just calling him Philly Dave was just funny. He came into studio last week when we had breakfast with the roast, all in his Eagles jersey. He's a San Francisco guy, but he's an Eagles fan. Really nice to meet him. Really nice. He took it on the chin. He was great. Nice back and forth. That was great. That was good stuff. So you come into enemy territory, wear it with your chest. I don't pretend to go to other sporting events and don that team's colors. I don't do that. That's not my thing. I don't do that. I'd never do that. So Philly Dave, you got my respect. 408, relax, Joey. Las Vegas still has a defense. Yeah, great. Their defense was kind of getting gashed by J.K. Dobbins. And I think they're going to get gashed against Lamar Jackson and gashed against Derrick Henry. I mean, Max Crosby, I know what I'm going to get from him. I'm going to get 100% every single time. Christian Wilkins, can he make some plays? He got paid a lot. I know he was good when he was in the Dolphins. Can he be good on the Raiders? I like Jack Jones. He's got a kind of a screw loose, but that's all right. I kind of like that. Like the Raiders of old. But I don't think it's overreaction after watching that Raiders game against the Chargers and saying, yeah, AP might not be that guy. That was, again, 4th and 1, Chargers 40, down 6 points, 7 minutes to go in a game, and you punt? Ugh. It was still just makes me want to throw up in my mouth right now at 5:56 a.m. No one wants that. You want to see that? YouTube? No one wants to see that. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's making me sick. Some other news and notes as I digress here. And Bonta and Chasky here in a couple minutes. Brian Baldinger joining them at 8 o'clock. The Panthers, it's not an overreaction to say they are the worst team in the league. It's not even close. And it is an overreaction to say the Saints are a playoff team after that win. The Saints are not a playoff team, and the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. It was a great performance from Derek Carr. It was great. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 15 carries, 83 yards. Shaheed, 3 receptions, 73 yards, touchdown. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Divisional win against an awful team. Let's see what they look like in Jerry's world when it's the game of the week next week. Let's see. I'm very interested to see what this Saints team does on the road with legit expectations because Derek's won there. I've seen it in a big game on Thursday night when Rich Bisaccia was the head coach, and that year was kind of crazy. I have been burned from the Derek Carr bridge too many times to hop back on it, and I'm not going to. I'm not. Seahawks, they won. They won. I'll give them that. And Bo Nix did not look great. Geno Smith did not look great. They still got Geno Smith as their quarterback. I can't take him seriously. Not even with it. Like, as much as we want to gas up the division and try to create some urgency within the NFC West, like after week 1, is it an overreaction to say that the Niners are clearly going to win this division? It's just, I don't even think it's going to be close again. Is that an overreaction? 888-957-9570. I don't think so. The 49ers are the best team in the NFC, and they're clearly the best team in the NFC West. I know. I like the Rams. I picked them to make the playoffs. I still think they make the playoffs. But all the injuries they're dealing with and their lack of depth, how could you compare them to the 49ers right now? I just don't think they're on the same tier. Not saying I don't have respect for them. I do. It's just I have that much more respect for what the San Francisco 49ers did on Monday and how stacked their roster is right now. The Cardinals could be a team where they'd knock off the Niners in a game. I think they have that much talent. I need to see more from Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll see. I mean, he was wide open at the end of the game for a game-winning touchdown potentially, but outside of that, nothing. I mean, he was supposed to be the most surefire prospect coming out of here when it came to the receiver position, right? Most polished, all that. And there were some people late in the draft process saying, this Malik Neighbors guy, LSU, I don't know. More explosiveness. High points the ball very well. But I even said, give me the polished route runner 10 times out of 10 and give me the sure thing that I know is going to be in the league. Like Amari Cooper was a top 5 pick from the Raiders back in the day, Alabama. He's had a great career. He's been a model of consistency. I know I'm going to say he's lived up to that top 5 because when it's all said and done, when his numbers are going to be out, he might have borderline Hall of Fame stuff. He might. Hell, if Matt Chapman's a Hall of Famer for the Giants, Amari Cooper's going to be one in the NFL. That's all we have for today. More thoughts, more conversation tomorrow. We'll look ahead to Sam Darnold, the Vikings, all that tomorrow. Do a little preview. But coming up next is Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. And they got Brian Baldinger, 8 o'clock on 95.7 The Game.